I got some open road. Time to floor it, hear that V8. Oh my God. You're definitely not gonna get that sort of sound out of the twin turbo V6. I'm in the 2022 Toyota Sequoia TRD Pro. This is the last model year of the second generation Sequoia. The 2023 redesign has just been announced, but in today's video, I'm gonna give you 10 reasons on why you should still buy this old one. But don't worry, after we get through the reasons you should buy this one, I'm gonna also give you a bunch of reasons why you should buy the new one. You can't go wrong with either. Reason number one, this is the last model year of this second generation. And this generation's been out, what, for 14 years? Since 2007 or so. That means that this thing is bulletproof reliable. You're not gonna have to worry about quality control issues, fit and finish, that sort of thing. This thing is put together like a fine piece of machinery, in which it is. And I expect this truck to continue to run for a long time, hundreds of thousands of miles. So build quality, fit and finish are super high with the last model year, especially for a Toyota. Number two, this might sound silly, but this vehicle has big tow hooks in the front, especially on this TRD Pro model. And that's something that not only the new Sequoia doesn't have, the new Tundra doesn't have tow hooks, not even on the TRD Pro model. So that fact alone makes this a little bit more safe to take in sketchier environments in theory. Reason number three, as I roll onto the throttle, is the sound, the roar of the V8, the 5.7 liter, around 380 horse, a little over 400 pound-feet in torque or so. This engine is pretty much bulletproof, and the transmission is a 6-speed, also just as reliable as the engine. And that's something a lot of people are going to miss on the new Sequoia as it goes twin turbo V6 hybrid. It's completely different, and people who want the simplicity, want the reliability, or just not have to worry about all the extra stuff and technology on the new engine and powertrain, they have that peace of mind here on the V8. No, it's not as fuel efficient. No, it's not as powerful. No, maybe it's not as smooth either. Don't know yet because I haven't driven the new Sequoia, but you have that V8 option here, and people are willing to spend big dollars on these old Sequoias just to have that V8 character and that V8 peace of mind. Point number four is that the rear window rolls down with the flick of this switch automatically. The new Sequoia had nothing in the press release, had nothing about the rear window functionality at all. Some people are saying that the glass will lift up. I still haven't seen that or heard that from Toyota, so the jury's still out on the functionality of the new window, but I know for sure it does not fold down. So that's another perk for this old Sequoia. And since the second generation Sequoia is built in Indiana, separate from the Tundra, unlike the new one, it has unique characteristics when it comes to the suspension. And so we have an independent rear suspension here, coil springs as well. And that's something that the new one doesn't have. It has a solid axle on the back. It has coil springs, but some people might like the ride quality and ride feel of the independent rear suspension here on this older Sequoia. Another point, if you're buying this thing new, dealers might be more likely to deal. I know the new car market's terrible right now, but with the new generation Sequoia, you're not going to be getting any deals whatsoever. With this old one, you might be able to snap up some deals at or below MSRP even with this old Sequoia, just because it traditionally hasn't sold very well for Toyota. They don't make a whole lot of them either. But yeah, you're just going to be able to find better deals for this generation. But not only that, the MSRPs are going to be lower compared to the new one, more than likely, because the new one has all the new technology, new engine, all these gadgets and gizmos on it that's going to bring that vehicle to new price tiers that we haven't seen before on the Sequoia. So this old one should be cheaper even if you're buying brand new. Used, of course, is a whole nother ballgame. This is, of course, you'll be able to find reliable, well-kept models for a way lower price than a new Sequoia. Now, another feature that some may prefer, I'm not an off-road specialist, but this has a center locking differential. So that's going to split the power from the front and rear wheels 50-50. And the new Sequoia, since it's pretty much shares everything with the new Tundra, it has a rear locking differential, which Definitely comes in handy if you just want to keep it in two-wheel drive. There are pros and cons to each system. Like I said, I'm not an expert, but some people might prefer the center lock compared to the rear lock of the new Sequoia. I got some open road, time to floor it, hear that V8. Oh my God. You're definitely not going to get that sort of sound out of the twin turbo V6. It's just not happening. Anyways, so this old Sequoia, the third row of seats fold flat into the floor. That doesn't happen on the new Sequoia. So in theory, unless you're using the third row, this second generation Sequoia should have a lot better cargo capacity. And I don't have official numbers from Toyota on the new one, but just from eyeballing it, this should have noticeably more cargo capacity behind the second row of seats compared to the new one. And that's a big one for a lot of people out there shopping these large SUVs. We're running out of points for the second generation Sequoia, but this thing has crazy visibility and ride height. Since I haven't been in the new one, I have been in the new Tundra, so it should be similar. This thing just feels like it sits higher than just about anything other than lifted trucks that just drove by us. F-150s, even Tundras, that sort of class of truck, unless they're lifted, they seem to sit lower than this Sequoia, which is, oh, that's beautiful, which is very impressive that you just feel like you have a huge vantage point. You always feel like you're sitting taller, bigger than everyone next to you. Like that Explorer right there looks like a little bit compared to this, part of my language. All right, last buying point for the old Sequoia. I know it sounds minimal, but it has a tuning knob. And now I know it's like super far out of reach for me. I have to like get out of my seat to even use it, but I'm still happy that I have a tuning knob in this old vehicle. The new one just has a volume knob, and yeah, I'm not the biggest fan, but that summarizes all the reasons you should buy this generation of Sequoia over the upcoming new one. And now I'm going to get into the reasons why maybe you should look at the new one. And there are some very compelling reasons. Reason number one, you have more customization. There are 5 tiers, SR5. You have limited, platinum, TRD Pro, and then you also have the new capstone. So you have 5 basic tiers, and then you also have all sorts of packages like TRD Sport, TRD Off-Road, mixed in there as well. There's just more individuality and options in the new Sequoia. So you'll more than likely be able to get what you want, more flexibility, more customization, and that's a good thing. Point number 2, even though the V8's gone, you're not gonna miss the terrible fuel economy. I'm getting 13.3 miles per gallon in this vehicle, mostly city driving, but yeah, it's abysmal. So on the new hybrid system, let's say you get 20 miles per gallon, that's a huge uplift over this old V8. And I know some people will just prefer the simplicity of the V8 and its terrible fuel economy over the complicated twin turbo V6 hybrid system, but there's no denying the new fuel efficiency. Not only that is the towing capacity. That thing, the new one can tow like 2,000 pounds more, 9,000 pounds of towing compared to the 7,000 pounds of this. Like, that is huge. Another pro for the new Sequoia is the interior design and just the quality materials. The build quality on this is great, but everything's plastic, scratchy. It's just, even for a $65,000 truck, it's just a cheap interior. The new one, great materials, better design, more options on the interior with colors and things like that. And then like these silver knobs are gone. So the whole interior experience is just on a completely different level. Not only that, you have the new Toyota interface, the big screen, the 14-inch option, but even the smaller screen is, I believe, a 9-inch screen or an 8-inch screen, somewhere like that, but it's bigger than this and more functional, and it's easier to use. So yeah, the new Sequoia interior-wise is just so much better. Next point for the new Sequoia is that it looks really good. It's a very handsome, large SUV. This thing is a big gelatinous blob. It doesn't have really any form to it. It just looks like a big rounded truck on wheels. And you know, I'm sure there are some people out there that prefer this style over the new one. I'm not one of them. So point for the new Sequoia and how it looks. Another point for the new Sequoia, you can get heated and ventilated seats, not only on the front, but the rear. I just have heated seats in this TRD Pro up front, and I don't even have a heated steering wheel. And that's like unacceptable for $65,000. I believe you get standard heated and ventilated seats on the limited grade and heated steering wheel as well on that limited grade. And that's gonna come in, fingers crossed, below $65,000. Time will tell. Not only that, you can get heated and ventilated seats in the back row, and that should be standard on the Platinum. Of course, the Capstone model as well. Another pro for the new Sequoia is the massive panoramic sunroof, something you can't even get on the Lexus LX, which is built on the same platform. It's a head scratcher, but anyways, new Sequoia, huge panel roof taken from the Tundra. It's amazing. This sunroof is huge because it's such a wide vehicle, but it's nothing like the panoramic roof on the new one. And the next feature might not seem that big, but the more people you have in the vehicle, the more connectivity you want. So I do have a bunch of 12 volts in here, one in the very back, one in the second row, and one up here, but I don't have USBs anywhere but the 3 up here. The new one is just gonna be so much better for connectivity for smart devices when you're traveling on the go. And I talked about the interior. The new screen is just such a better upgrade, but also behind the steering wheel is this standard 12-inch fully digital display. I don't mind what we have going on here because I am a sucker for traditional analog gauges, but the MID behind, or should I say in between all of it, is tiny on this vehicle, and it is going to be a nice welcome upgrade to have that gorgeous 12.3-inch fully digital screen that we see on all the iForce Max models. And the new Lexus LX doesn't even have that nice of a screen either behind the steering wheel. It's like half the size of the 12-inch one. Now, another pro for the new Sequoia is that it is so similar to the Land Cruiser. It's built on the same platform just like the Tundra is, so it shares a lot with the Land Cruiser. Suspension is very similar to it. You have a solid rear axle. I've already mentioned that earlier, but like, let's say that Lexus LX 600 and top tiers of the Tundra, you have adaptive variable suspension in the new Sequoia, which is going to give you better driving characteristics and more comfort and better handling when you need it. Also, the load leveling air suspension is going to be a lot easier to get on the new Sequoia. Here, I believe you can only get it on the Platinum grade, which is like a $70,000+ Sequoia. So in theory, the new one could be even better off-roading. With that solid rear axle on the back, it is more Land Cruiser-like. People will appreciate that. It should be more sturdy in theory, and maybe that's also why it has a higher towing capacity as well, because it's more stout in the back compared to the old Sequoia. So a lot of people appreciate that. But now having all the points for the old model, this one, and the new model coming out, which Sequoia would you take? Is the allure of the V8 more important to you than all the tech features and a fuel economy of the new one, as well as a more powerful powertrain? But really, the V8 is the strongest selling point of this older model compared to the vastly superior and updated new model. And maybe that sliding back window and interior cargo space is also important for you in this particular model. It'll be fun to see you guys battle it out in the comments on which Sequoia you prefer. I can't wait to drive the new one. Of course, I'll bring you hands-on coverage of the new 2023 redesigned Sequoia. This old generation, it feels old. That's not a bad thing because we know this vehicle is very reliable, very sturdy, and will last a long time. If you enjoyed today's video, smash the like button, subscribe for more Toyota news and reviews, all Japanese cars and Korean cars for that matter. Catch you in the next video. Peace out.